More than 2 years since a shocking crime at Hidden Valley Lake in southeast Indiana. Elder High School basketball standout 73-year-old Tom Biedenharn was murdered in his home on Memorial Day in 2018. Two Indiana State Police detectives talked about the case on the true crime podcast, Just the Tipsters, and host Melissa Morgan is here to give us a closer look. It's good to see you all the way from California, Melissa. Thanks for joining us.
Great to see you, Sheila.
So I remember when this happened, and nobody could believe, A, that it happened where it did at Hidden Valley Lake, and nobody could believe that someone would hurt Tom because he was a good guy, he volunteered, good neighbor, had a lot of family around him.
Absolutely. It's one of the strangest cases ever. Someone who gives so much of themselves to the community, why would anyone want to take that away?
Now, you talked to Detectives Earls and Baxter from the Indiana State Police, and
Yes.
One of the things you touched on was how they really had their work cut out for them because Tom knew so many people.
You don't think about someone who's 73 having a very large circle around them of friends, family contacts, and yet Tom did, which made their jobs that much more difficult, vetting all of those people in his life. And everyone who knows him said he was just always on the go. So there was a lot of work to be done, and they're still working hard on this case.
You also talked about the fact that he worked with people who had addiction problems, and that sort of played into the case. But what do you know? What do the detectives know about the case of Tom's murder? I know he died from blunt force trauma. What else did they have?
Well, it's not a lot, but what they have is interesting and unique, and I think that's going to be part of what makes this case solvable, because we know that someone in the area there, more than one someone, knows what happened. They know that it was more than one perpetrator, and not just because Tom was 6'8" and a big presence, but there were at least two individuals, if not more, and they do have information and evidence that they're still tracking down. And there's a French criminalist named Locard who has one of my favorite phrases, and this was from the 1800s, and he said, "Everywhere you go, you leave a piece of you there." And that applies in both cases. Everywhere Tom went, he left a piece of himself. He gave a piece of himself, and the people that did this left pieces of themselves there.
Yeah, we know they had fingerprints from more than one person at the scene. We know he died from blunt force trauma, and there was a lot of talk about an electric blue pickup truck. Did they ever have a theory on a motive at this point?
Such a thin motive. That's what makes this case even more upsetting than a lot, because there was only one thing of value taken, and it wasn't something that would normally be taken by anyone who would be committing a burglary. It's a very odd thing, but it also,
What
was it?
What was it?
I can't tell you that.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I can't tell you that, but let's just say there were other things that of value that were in plain sight that were not taken. So it made it look like it was personal, but I don't know that it was personal. It could be many different things. It could have been a botched robbery. It could have been a lot of things, but because it's strange, it makes it, I believe, easier to solve. And I know we're here 2.5 years later, but I know that this case is solvable. And I know somebody who's listening to you right now knows who did this.
And I know that's why you do this, to keep these cases and keep the tips coming in. Melissa, I want to thank you so much. And I do want to mention, last time we spoke, we talked about Bill and Peggy Stevenson, and their daughter Beth has been in touch. And I just want to mention their names again, because there are big rewards in both of these cases. So call
both cases.
Yeah, so call Boone County Police or Indiana State Police if you have clues.
Absolutely.
Be well, Melissa.
Thank you, Sheila. Thank you. You too.